Hi there. I fixed my mic. That's good. So I wanted to talk about a quick little thing I had problems with, and that apparently my grandma also has problems with. I want to mention this lady is the sweetest old lady I've ever met, and I love her for it because she's my grandma, and so on and so forth. But continuing, I have been seeing a lot of stuff about politics, especially recently. You kind of can't get away from politics, especially now, and I understand that. So, I'm going to warn everybody here this is going to be about politics. I'm warning you now because if you skip ahead and you realize that we're talking about politics and you stop watching the video, it's kind of your own fault. So, if you stop watching here, fair enough. I don't see why not. Anyway, so as a trans person, I have to talk about this because it's a big deal. It's so much more going on, but you've already heard everything by this point. I'm not kidding when I say you've probably heard virtually everything that is going on at all times. But what's with the anti-trans stuff again? Why? Is it because people are stupid and actually don't understand that eventually it'll go on to everyone and not just trans people? Is it the fact that a lot of misinformation is being spread about trans people and that they're predators and pedos and so on and so forth, when that's just not true? Politics has been genuinely really important to me because it's affecting people that I personally like, or people that I talk to on a daily basis, or people that I have to check in on, so on and so forth. You want to know who's been affected the most? I'm not going to name them, but if you know, you know. They are a trans person who is also disabled. It's already really hard getting a wheelchair because it's like I'm gonna warn you. There's gonna be a loud sound, so hold on. How much are wheelchairs? Uh, huh. That's really expensive. So for the industry standard wheelchair, it's 130, or it's 130 from what I'm seeing to 310. That is for basic mobility. That should be a human right to be able to move. I see that some of these are on sale, which is pretty cool, but they're probably not all that good. Then again, sometimes you just gotta get what you get. It shouldn't be this expensive to move. And, not to mention, with whatever the hell our current president is doing in the US, it's not helping anybody. If my trans friend, who also happen to exist in the US and they are disabled, which probably would have happened anyway. Uh, I think they live in the US. I'm stupid sometimes and I've never asked them, but if they do live in the US, they are the ones being most oppressed. But you want to know who's also being oppressed? People who support him. It's ridiculous to me. I had to make this video because, unironically, I'm very pissed off about people still supporting this. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing that he's doing any of this. A lot of you know this, and I'm proud of you for knowing this. Some of y'all don't. Some of y'all I need to talk to your parents and wonder how this kind of stuff happened. I am I can't do it because it pisses me off. I legitimately have been worrying about people who I have loved for months, maybe even years, maybe even a decade by now, who are disabled and want to do other things with their life. Hell, I have a friend who is disabled. Well, okay, we don't talk all that much, but I have another friend who is also disabled who actually had a lot of trouble getting around because nothing is wheelchair accessible. It's absurd. And I'm not gonna blame my mom on this. She's probably, but this is basically what I heard from her. They were saying that we pay for food, so people should pay for stuff if they have a disability, or we don't choose to. So hold on, let me redo this. Let me redo this. So, in her own words, after I said this, it is absurd that people have to pay for mobility because they didn't choose to be disabled. That wasn't on them. And yes, I will acknowledge that that is true. Because it is. It fucking pisses me off. It really does. That people genuinely think that paying for stuff like this is, should be mandatory. But she was basically saying that, like, if you have a disability, you should have to pay for it. Because that's what the current president has, especially right now, drilled into people's brains and basically want, yeah, I'm the correct one. I'm the correct one. I do everything correct. Which is just not true. That's not true. If you want to put anybody on a podium, it should be Weird Al. Because Weird Al at least is funny. He doesn't take too many things seriously. And I love him for that. Thank you, Weird Al, for making everybody's days a tad bit better. Anyway. I can't stand that type of people who genuinely think that because someone has the need to walk, that somebody has the, actual. Okay, hold on. It's not even a need. It's not a need. Walking and being able to move around should be normal, but it's not for some people. Saying that you should have to pay for that is absurd. Saying that, and comparing it to food, which you can get anywhere now, which you can do anything with now. Saying that disabilities are the same as getting somewhere like food is absurd to me. To some of y'all. And I don't want to call anybody out, so I'm not gonna, but to some of y'all, that's pretty normal. I don't get that. I really don't. Disabilities are not chosen. Disabilities are not an option to just say no to. Because no, nobody chose their disability. My dad didn't choose to have dyslexia. Yet here we are. My dad, how about this? I didn't choose to have sensitive eyes. Yet here we are. I didn't choose to, do a bunch of other stuff that actively have caused me to get angry at myself over the smallest things. Or I don't know. I didn't choose to, I don't know, get a broken arm. Yet here we are. I still had to pay for that. Well, they still had to pay for that fucking cast. You don't choose to have disabilities. You don't choose for your arm to be broken. You don't choose any of that. That just happens. People shouldn't think like this. I'm sorry. Having a basic human need be behind a paywall should not be the bare minimum. The bare minimum should be like what every other country has been doing right now. What every other country has been telling us that was a very good idea on their part. Giving the person a wheelchair and health care. Now, I'm gonna throw a little bit of a flashbang truth bomb on some of y'all. But Medicare is important. Yeah, sorry, that might have been a little bit of a dud, but Medicare is unbelievably important. I think we all understand this. I think that Medicare is, especially for veterans, unbelievably important. It is so important, in fact, that getting rid of that would be a problem. Veterans especially need this because they just went through an entire war. Well, they did go through an entire war. Look, it pisses me off that people are like this. It really does. It pisses me off that people have the exact same perspective as certain things that President Trump has said. It pisses me off really badly. And it especially pisses me off that my friend in a wheelchair has had to deal with this type of shit, even in Britain. I think they're in Britain. I don't know. From what I've heard, they're in Britain, but I don't know. But it is absurd that anywhere this would be a problem. Because that's a basic human fucking need. You don't, like, try to get disabled unless you're a psycho. You didn't intend on breaking your legs when you were young, because nobody fucking did. Nobody did. Like, this pisses me off especially because people know better. People know better. And I'm not gonna go, oh, well, it's just specifically this group of people. Because no, everybody knows better. Everybody knows better. But they choose not to be better people. They choose to be homophobic and transphobic. They choose to do all that. They choose to make fun of things that we didn't have a choice over. I'm sorry that I didn't bottle up my emotions and cause myself to want to fucking kill myself over this. I'm sorry that I'm different from everybody else. Oh, whoops-a-daisies, whoops-a-daisies, I didn't mean to fall into the goddamn rose bush of dumbass opinions. Yeah, of course, of course, you know, stuff like sexuality is not an option. Well, okay, depending on what sexuality you have. But nonetheless, you still have that sexuality. It's like, if you like dudes, you like dudes. If you like girls, you like girls. If you like both of them, you like both of them. It's moronic to me that people even just think about this type of stuff where it's like, oh, well, gay people shouldn't have rats over trans people, or not trans people. It's like, gay and trans people shouldn't have rats over the basic normal human, and it's like, no, nobody's normal. Let's be real here. Nobody goes onto the internet and does this type of shit like I do, except for a lot of people. But all jokes aside, legitimately, I cannot. I cannot with the state of people right now. I can't. It's pissing me off. I've talked about it time and time again with family and friends, how this type of shit is happening because it's affecting people. Look, I know. Well, why didn't you say that about every other president? Because we're practically, and I don't mean literally, I mean practically, where it's similar, but not actually. That's where my meaning of practically is kind of iffy, but we're practically in Nazi Germany right now. No, in fact, we're pretty much in Nazi Germany. The difference is that no one has been gas bombed. Or no one's been put in the fucking gas chambers. Which I'm really, really happy about right now, because if any of that happened to people I knew, I was going to go on a murderous rampage. But thankfully, we don't actually live in Nazi Germany, but we're pretty damn close. Segregation, talking bad about people who are different than the status quo. Like, you can have your own opinions on this, but in my opinion, well, you can have your own opinions about fucking whatever. It's your life, not mine. But to me, we're practically in Nazi Germany, and that's absurd. I shouldn't have to say that. I shouldn't have to even express that. I shouldn't have to say that at the top of my lungs. I'm not even saying that at the top of my lungs. I'm just speaking. This is my normal speaking voice. This isn't the dramatic voice that I was expecting to do in most videos. This is just me. And the fact that people ignore this type of stuff, the fact that people don't even try and update themselves on any sort of stuff like this, is absurd. People are getting sent to concentration camps. You've already heard this. Most of you have already heard this, but if you haven't, people are being sent to El Salvador, actual concentration camps outside of the US, and so on and so forth. People are being sent to places they don't even know about. People are being sent to places and stuff that they can't even speak the language of. It is absurd that we live in a world like this. It is absurd that we live in a country like this. Maybe you don't live in a country like this. And I'm really happy about that. But we shouldn't I shouldn't have to talk about this. I normally do not talk about politics, and I never will again, but legitimately, this is fucking absurd. There's no better words for it. This is fucking absurd. There's so many other channels you've probably already heard about since you're, you know, probably a little bit politically active, but especially on the trans side of this, especially on everything else, the people who I've known for a while now, to say the least, are getting affected. My grandmother has been getting affected. You want to know what that pisses me off more? You want to know what you fucked up and did? You affected my grandma. My grandma, this sweet old lady who just wants to bake. She's probably hurt a few people in her years, but that's human. Hurting a few people is pretty natural. Well, no, I guess not really natural, but hurting people's feelings can happen. And yeah, I know. It's absurd. My grandma's social security number might get deleted. I I I just can't. That pisses me off so unbelievably badly, because she is my grandma. But not to mention, scrubbing the social security numbers of thousands upon thousands of Americans, or hell, even a million if we're getting that far, is fucking absurd. I don't know. There's not a better word for most of this. I couldn't come up with a better word even if I tried. But this is fucking absurd. The fact that innocent human beings who haven't done anything wrong are currently being sent to concentration camps is absurd. I worry about y'all. I really do. Y'all are my fan base, yes. Or maybe even just people that watch me. But the fact that you clicked on this channel, the fact that you did any of this, the fact that you're still watching, thank you. You mean a lot to me. And if anything happens to you, if anybody fucking touches you who is meaning to hurt you, I will find them, and I will give them the meanest scolding I could physically give to a person ever. I will annihilate their eardrums with my voice. I will do the Gianni thing and just go, I want your organs. But, seriously though, this shit is absurd that anybody is getting hurt. No other president did this, maybe except for Bush, and that's saying something. So, I'm glad all of y'all who have stayed until the end are still listening. So, here's what I want you guys to promise. You will stay safe as much as possible. You will stay as safe as physically possible. Okay? You will try and take care of your mental health. And you will treat people as people instead of calling them aliens. You will treat everybody you meet, even people you hate, with kindness. Unless, and here's a big unless they try to hurt you. Because then, that's legal. Okay. Be safe out there, y'all. Please. For any fucking reason. For anything that has happened in my life. Or anything that's happened in your life. Please, stay safe. It means a lot to me if you choose to stay safe in a world like this. If you choose to... Maybe you don't even have a choice. Maybe you're kind of forced. If so, try and stay safe as possible. I would love for everyone currently to stay safe. And try and keep it easy. Don't try and pollute your brain with all this type of stuff, but instead take care of your mental health. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.